Joe, the grant that was received this week, or announced this week, I should say, how important was that to Sturdy in light of everything that's gone on?
It was very important, Peter. We had a lot of our community members step up and either donate money, donate goods and services, N95 masks, isolation masks, food for our staff on several occasions, and they're still doing it actually. But the grant was significant in that it was obviously very large, $100,000, and the cost for us for additional supplies related to COVID-19 was approximately $750,000 is what we've spent so far. So the cost of that represents N95 masks, isolation masks, other disposable supplies that you need in order to treat a very sick population. And it also includes other things like signage and instructions for patients and employees to make sure that we were properly addressing everything we had to with COVID-19. So yes, it was significant. It's very much appreciated, and it was very necessary.
I know the shortage of PPP was impacted hospitals big and small. I also know, because she was in here on a weekly basis, that State Representative Betty Poirier was working very closely with you. How big of a role did Betty play?
Well, Representative Poirier has been terrific to Sturdy for the entire time that I've been here, that she's been a representative of our area. She is, I feel like she's another employee of the hospital. We really count on Betty. And she did advocate for us on several occasions for PPE supplies from the state. So the state did have supplies, but they were limited. But it was important for us to get even those limited supplies from the state to make sure that we always had enough supplies to keep our employees as well as our patients safe. So she did a terrific job. She always does. She actually also, during that period, helped us move behavioral health patients through the system through her contacts at the state, which, in this environment sometimes became problematic. So, as usual, Betty did a great job in serving our hospital.
She will certainly be missed. Joe, before you were CEO and president, you were CFO. I think back to the days of Linda Shivitz. Sturdy Memorial Hospital would report on a yearly basis that they were in the black, and often one of the few hospitals that finished in the black, and that continues to this day. How important was Sturdy's strong financial position heading into this pandemic? Could you have been as successful as you have been without that?
That's a great question, Peter. It was incredibly important that we were financially sound going into this, and I will give Linda Shivitz a ton of credit for directing the organization for many, many years and putting us in a position to deal with this pandemic in the way that we did. So, mid-March, we curtailed a significant amount of our services. So that was ordered through Department of Public Health in conjunction with the governor's office. And we did not really begin resuming many of our services until mid-May. And then even in mid-May, we only started to bring them back, and it wasn't until just recently we're now back offering full services at the hospital and at the physician practices. So that's a long time to be missing a significant portion of the services that we deliver. And over that period, we did not lay off or furlough any of our employees. So with the significant drop in revenue during that time period, and still pretty much maintaining all of the same expenses, possibly even more because of, as I mentioned earlier, the significant costs of personal protective equipment. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we weren't financially sound going into this. So we do. I feel we owe Linda a debt of gratitude for her foresight in making sure that the hospital was always in sound financial position to deal with any crisis. That I know nobody could foresee this, but we were in a position to manage well through it.
Joe, let's talk about the staff at Sturdy. I have been under the knife at Sturdy a couple of times, a major operation. I woke up in recovery, and one of the nurses was also a neighbor of mine. I think one of the things that makes Sturdy special is not only the quality care, but that care is being given by people we know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It is a community hospital. There's a lot of people at the hospital, employees at the hospital, who have relatives who work at the hospital, who live in our community. I've lived in what I consider the hospital's community for many years. They are a terrific group. I love our employees. How they dealt with this pandemic was incredible. It really took a team effort to get through this successfully. So obviously the frontline people, the nurses, the aides, the doctors going in to take care of the patients hands-on was, the obvious point of just doing a terrific job. But there was also all the support from environmental, dietary, facilities, the lab. All these departments had to work and do their jobs to make sure that we got through this crisis. So as we moved a patient out of one of our med-surg rooms, the environmental staff, for example, had to go in and clean that room for 2 hours, do a very thorough cleaning of it. It meant they were in full PPE and just a remarkable job from top to bottom, and everybody working as a team. I'm really proud of what they've done, and you can sense it in the hospital. And then just to add to that, the community was terrific in terms of the support they gave us. There's long days. Sometimes it can get discouraging, and the community continues to support us in many, many different ways. So they've just been terrific. It is as bad of a thing COVID-19 is. The experience at Sturdy could not have been better in terms of dealing with it.
Yeah, I had a chance to witness firsthand, captured on video for North Attleboro this week, the rally that was organized by, I believe it was the Attleboro Fire Department. Communities from throughout the area drove around the hospital. Staff, I saw you out there waving, and it was one of those special moments. I remember it was cold and it was rainy, but it was quite a night.
Peter, and I know this sounds corny, but I had like tears in my eyes, and I was not the only one. There's caregivers who have really seen it all, and they were crying, and it was really special to see the community support us in many, many different ways, that being one very high-profile one.
There was a photo in the Friday edition of the Sun Chronicle, Friday, June 12th, of you and staff at Sturdy kneeling in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. How did that come about?
Well, the Hospital Association of Massachusetts actually started we've worked, just to take a step back, the Mass Hospital Association has been terrific in us dealing with the COVID-19 virus by organizing our key top employees to be talking to each other constantly. So we're always sharing ideas, best practices. There's a lot of change going on. And also taking care of patients. So if we had too many patients to take care of, we could transfer them out. And there were times where we took patients in from other hospitals. So and we actually even at times bartered supplies. So that to get back to your question, we've been talking regularly, the CEOs, and we did decide a few days ago that this would be a great thing to do to show that this is important to our community, that we want this, this needs to be addressed, and we did it as an organization for the entire state of Massachusetts, and it was very moving. It was, we knelt there, or at least I did. I mean, obviously you could either, the people who participated in that either knelt or stood, but 8 minutes and 46 seconds is a long time, and it was very moving, and I'm glad we did it, and there's more to do on that. That's just to show that we are, that it is important, that we do stand with the community, that we need to put an end to racial prejudice. But there's work to be done. That's a symbolic measure, but that's not what needs. In the long run, there needs more to be done.
Well, it was certainly a powerful photo on page A2 of the Friday Sun Chronicle. Joe, thank you not only for your time, but also the work you and everyone has done at Sturdy since this pandemic began.
Okay, Peter. Thanks. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.